unlike what we have seen on media outlets, on social media about the treatment of Venezuelans in El Salvador. It is humiliating, criminalizing them, reducing them, and there is no one in the world who says nothing. Where is the United Nations? The Bukele government and the U.S. administration agreed on sending Venezuelans to El Salvador prisons, and the United States hasn't announced how the United States identified these people as the Tren de Aragua criminals, and so it is a lie. It is very much alike to fascism acting in Europe. It is very similar against people stigmatized and persecuted. Venezuela right now urges for unity, for maximum unity, and the brother Jorge Rodriguez announced a collection of signatures on Wednesday on all Bolivar's squares, and it is a summon for all Venezuelans, men and women, children. The big majority that were sent to El Salvador, they don't commit a crime in the United States. And one wonders, if they committed the crime in the United States, why don't they be judged there in the United States for their crimes?
They are captured, they are kidnapped. The case of a group of young people from Zulia who, when they saw that we were presenting the place to pick them up, they went to immigration to be brought home. And when they went at the list, they were captured. They stole their cell phone. Their bank accounts were frozen. Their properties were confiscated. And later they were handcuffed. And when they arrived in El Salvador, they were brought down violently. They were shaved. Is that called human rights? Is that called justice? That's called Nazism, fascism, and Venezuela is ready to denounce that mass violation of human rights against hardworking and noble migrants in the United States. Have the right to defense. We will not rest until they arrive healthy in Venezuela. We will not rest until these innocent people arrive in Venezuela.
And teleSUR is also celebrating its 20th anniversary on the streets with the Cuban people. And for that, we're going live to Havana with our correspondent Belén de los Santos. Hello, Belén. What can you tell us at night at these celebrations in Los Avioncitos neighborhood in the capital of Cuba?
Hello, Luis. Exactly. So, just as you were saying, this week is not only just for the Patria Colloquium, but it's especially a celebration for the 20 years of teleSUR. And what is happening right behind me is actually that celebration, that birthday party, 20 years for teleSUR. And that is the important event. So it's nighttime in Havana. We are actually in the neighborhood Los Avioncitos, in the neighborhood La Lisa, in the capital of Cuba. And the party is just about to end. The people were dancing, the people were celebrating. Just moments ago, the teleSUR president, Patricia Villegas, addressed the community. The idea of the celebration was truly for the community, for the people of the neighborhood, for the people of Cuba to be able to have a moment with teleSUR, marking really the idea that teleSUR is a network and a media that was thought out for the people, with the people, and that continues to maintain 20 years later that idea of community, of closeness, really. So we had a very close exchange between Patricia Villegas and the rest of the neighbors, but not only her, all the workers, men women, the journalists, also the tech staff were here, part of the celebration. They were up on that stage, sharing their experiences, talking to the people. They even received some questions from the community about what it was like to carry out the news every day and what their experience was like. So that was a really nice and communal moment. So that is what is happening here. Let's recall that this is all in the framework of the International Patria Colloquium. This is not just a celebration, it's a moment in which all the different news outlets come together to Cuba. This is the 4th edition, and they are here to discuss what are the present challenges for digital communication. And teleSUR has a really important experience to share, and that is what this 20th anniversary is all about. So, as you can see, the music is very loud behind me. The people were dancing and chanting, and it was truly a celebration, birthday cake included. And we wanted to share with you a little bit of this. Let's recall that the colloquium continues through Tuesday and Wednesday as well, with workshops, with conferences, with the expositions of new technical advancements. Artificial intelligence is also very big in this colloquium as really a way to think how these new technologies will impact the future of digital communication, and of course a leftist perspective on that communication. So that is what we have for now in Havana. We will continue very early tomorrow as the colloquium continues. So Luis, I hope to keep on bringing you all the updates.
Thank you, Belen, and of course we're going to stay in touch on Tuesday and Wednesday to continue knowing everything that is happening in this important celebration and the colloquium that is being held in the capital. Thank you for being in touch today, Tuesday and Wednesday. Another part of her address, Villegas referred to the difficult scenario of aggressions faced by teleSUR and Latin American countries that are members of the multinational platform.
With a new regional perspective, a new chapter begins. Of course, also a new communication effort begins. The attacks on teleSUR in many countries become much more evident. There is a declaration of the United States Southern Command to try to affect directly the teleSUR signal and its distribution across the whole continent. And then in every place where teleSUR is present we see coups against President Evo Morales. Also a teleSUR member country, the siege against the Sandinista revolution led by Commander Ortega and by Rosario. All teleSUR member countries are living in unspeakable siege. All the efforts to crush in vain the Cuban Revolution. These have been years we have sailed against the wind, and in that adverse scenario teleSUR has resisted. This is the context in which we have moved these years.
And during her opening speech at the colloquium, teleSUR's President Patricia Villegas highlighted the need to build a counter-hegemonic agenda with a global impact.
We have to make a profound reflection and stop thinking of ourselves as competitors but as collaborators, and decisively and consciously work on common agendas. To work in dialogical exercises about what is important for the landless workers movement in Brazil, that I see them here, that their struggle agenda be also important for the community newspaper of Jujuy in Argentina, for a Chinese newspaper in Beijing, and of course for a multi-platform such as teleSUR. If we do not understand that we have to do it together, we don't even have the opportunity to wage the battle. We wouldn't even have the opportunity to get into the fabric of that great hegemonic power, which I do not want to talk about because I know that in other spaces of this extraordinary event there will be talks and discussions about how this global ecosystem works today. But we are building and fighting from the south against that undeniable reality, and we can only fight if we understand that we have to do it together.
The president of Venezuela's National Assembly, Jorge Rodriguez, rejected Monday the criminalization of Venezuelan migrants by the United States and called sending them to El Salvador a kidnapping maneuver. Rodriguez described the decision as inhumane and denounced that Venezuelan migrants are being humiliated in the United States by taking them away from their workplaces, educational centers, and public places as alleged criminals. Rodriguez also revealed that the Trump administration offered $6,000 to El Salvador for each Venezuelan migrant accepted in that country. Venezuela condemned the bombing of Yemen and the escalation of violence in West Asia. In an official communique, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela strongly condemns the military intervention of the United States and the United Kingdom in the territory of Yemen, an action that violates the sovereignty of that nation and aggravates the already critical humanitarian situation. These attacks only add more destruction and suffering to the Yemeni people without providing any real solution to the problems facing the region. The current situation of instability in West Asia has a clear origin: the occupation and genocide against the Palestinian people. Almost 80 years of aggression, exclusion, and violence against Palestine have led to a long-term conflict, which consequences affect the whole region. Peace will only be possible when the legitimate right of the Palestinian people to self-determination is restored. The document added, Venezuela demands the immediate cessation of attacks against Yemen and calls on the international community to stop this new military escalation. The way to achieve peace in the region is the immediate return to international legality, compliance with the resolutions of the United Nations Security Council on Palestine, and the immediate cessation of any hostility towards the peoples of the region.